I can do it. Doesn't didn't kick us off. So now we're recording and we're on Facebook, and it's like time for this show to be on the road. We are missing one person. Who are we missing? We're missing Latara. Latara! And speak of the angel, she's here. It's like magic. She's coming on. She's coming on. And you guys, unless you got lots of noise going on in the background, you can keep your mics unmuted the whole time. Hello, Latara. Welcome, welcome. Awesome. Let's see what happens if I shuffle us around. So let's see. I'm going to put you up on the top. I'm going to put you up on the top. I'm going to put me down below. Hey, there we go. All right. So I'll be down below. I'll put you guys all up on top. I'm looking to see if it I'm watching us live. I'm such a newbie to the whole live stream thing. So please forgive my excitement over learning a new skill. All right. Yeah. How many of you, this is your first time becoming a best-selling author? Awesome. Actually, I meant international. Cool. Yay.
Yeah.
I've been in a few
Yay.
books, but I don't think I've ever been in an international bestseller before. So this is very exciting for me. All right.
Mm.
So I want to get started. So right now, I want to kind of prep our audience to look through the lens of the edge. And what I mean by the edge, we call this the Shadow Dance Edge, is the name of my podcast. And the reason why is because we all have this hard-won wisdom. We have a set of hard-won wisdom, and it's usually what we draw from to be able to relate to our audiences and to be able to teach a set of skills maybe that we have, or impart some really important information, which we've all done in this book. And so I sent to you a list of what I call shadow whispers, and I'm going to say them out loud, or I'm going to share my screen, because that would be like an added bonus to not only live streaming and recording, but being able to share my screen at the same time. So we're going to do that real quick. I don't need to share sound, just this image right here. And these are the shadows. And I've noticed that when I do shadow work, that things tend to fall into three categories. But how much you feel like you have control over your life, and the opposite on the shadow side would be overwhelm. And then how much we feel our worth, our self-worth, and the opposite of that would be like self-worth, like feelings of lower self-worth. And then there's a self-efficacy. Do we trust that we can do what we need to do, or do we have sensations of being in fraud? So in these 12 shadow whispers, you can find a little bit, sometimes there's crossovers, but when you look at this list and you think about your edge, like specifically the context of who do you want to be when you grow up, or what do you want to be more of, looking at and feeling into the feeling of the little voice inside of us that says, I'm afraid. Some people never have that. They're fearless. I don't know anyone like that, but I'm sure they exist. Then there's people that feel like I'm not ready, or it's not my fault. Whatever's happening out there, I have no control over it, or I'm overwhelmed. That's me. Change is scary. No one gets me. Everything is too hard. Better play it safe. I'm such a fraud. They're going to reject me. The truth will hurt, but they need me. And I can say that I have a little bit of everything, but not always in the same context. So I'm going to actually start with Latara. Which of those speaks to you as far as when you are working with a group of people? Where are they coming from? Where are their shadows living that you get to help them through?
I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah. And does your chapter that you wrote speak a little bit to the overwhelmed shadow?
Actually, it does, because it's all about time navigation for procrastinators.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, one of the reasons why you might be feeling overwhelmed is because you're procrastinating to do things, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you're procrastinating because you already feel like you have too many things on your plate, so you put a lot of things on the back burner and everything catches fire. So
Oh my
that's one
God.
of the reasons why I want to help people with balancing all of these things and trying to be productive and get things done and and
Yeah.
alleviate the overwhelm.
Like seriously, and the people that pick up this book, I think a lot of them, I know that one of the things that's me. I am overwhelmed and I'm not going to go into the story around that. And so when I'm reading like your chapter and I'm feeling into like, can this work for me? And if I need more guidance, then it might prompt me to call you because I'm relating to you. But so in your in your chapter, do you share a personal story about how you made it through your own overwhelming days?
Um, well, I was writing this chapter at the time of the writing of this chapter. I was moving from California to Arkansas and running a summit. So yeah, I know a little bit. I might throw my personal story in there just a little bit.
No, please do. You're allowed.
That's it. That was it. That was it. I was just traveling and I was in a hotel room while I was writing the chapter. So
Wow. That's like seriously relatable. Yeah, definitely. We just moved 3 people here and we didn't have to move across state, but that was bad enough. I can't imagine having to do everything while you're traveling. Ah, crazy. And I want to ask Monica the same thing. I mean, which of those shadow whispers tend to be what people who would be following you or hiring you be feeling?
I kept thinking, I don't want to say the same thing because I don't want to say overwhelmed, but it is true. Really, that's where it's at. As entrepreneurs, as business owners, we have so much on our plate and there's so many hats that we wear. And then plus some of us have, I have 3 kids and then a dog and then, other things and a family and whatever. And so there's always a lot on the plate. And so it is that overwhelm for a lot of our clients too, of like, okay, wow, there's a lot happening. How do I choose to manage what it is I'm managing? How do I stay in touch with what's super important in this moment versus the next moment and just to stay focused?
What's the name of your chapter, Monica?
The to-do versus the to-be list.
Yeah, I read yours. I remember feeling into that. And I remember when I was very structured, this back in perfectionism days, right? And I got the list and I'm thinking, this is my priority. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I got the have to, the shoulds. And instead of thinking about like, what energy do I need to step into to get all of this stuff done? And I love how your chapter draws that really important piece out, because if we're not in like the beingness, the embodiment of our, what we need to get done, then we're playing with 2 different parts of our brain, maybe even our soul, depending on, how split that is. So is there something not in your chapter that you would be willing to impart to us to help us to like immediately snap into beingness and out of our doingness? I didn't prep her, so this is a really unfair question. I'm just sharing with everybody. She had no clue I was going to ask this question.
So as I think about it, I really look at, that to-do list or the buffet list from earlier, that whole list of whatever that is, it's finite. It's inside a box. And when we look at our to-be list, it's huge. I can be anything. I'm in the practice right now of being free. So I want to be in the possibility of freedom with my money, freedom with my friends, freedom with my space, freedom with my dog who's getting ready to cross over, however you call it, freedom with my parents, freedom with relationships, freedom with everything. And then what does it mean to be free? If I'm being, I don't have a to-do list that says, how do you do free? You can't do free, you be free. And so as I look at, and I would really recommend my practices who is it that I want to, like, who is it that I am the possibility of right now in this moment? And how often can I feel my butt in the chair, feel my feet on the ground, and just remind myself, in this moment, I'm being who I'm being, and that's in this moment, I'm being free. So
I
even as I'm checking that list and I'm looking, I have it right here. I have my to-do list right here, but I'm looking at my list that is this with boundaries and is, finite, but then I'm looking at the who am I being, so that I'm not missing things, because we
Right.
always miss things if we're inside the box. What is it that I'm missing? And then scrutinizing ourselves inside that list.
What I heard is we are bigger than our to-do list,
Mm,
and you can't do free, you be free.
mm,
And when you started talking about physical things, I could feel myself coming out of my head and going back into my body.
mm.
And I got the sensation of I think that reminder that we're bigger than our to-do list, and to remember that we can be, it's okay to be in our beingness, and that's so unlimited, is a great shortcut to get back into that beingness of it. And I like that it's a finite container, because we're always going to play to our edges, right? As long as we have that boundary, we can be free to go anywhere in it and push those edges. So yeah, thank you for that.
Thank
We'll,
you.
we'll we'll circle back again. I want to ask Kristin the same question. Which of those shadow whispers calls to you and might be something that your particular audience really feels?
Yeah, I would say that with the women that I work with, that it's the fear of change. And, it's so much easier to stay where we're comfortable, stay right here, because this is what I know. So to be able to, do the exercises that allow them to dig a little deeper and really ask the questions of what is it that I want? And so once they start realizing that they can have other things other than what's right here in front of them and around them, then that starts to open up those doors for them to kind of say, wow, I didn't realize I wanted that, but now how can I have that? And how can I make those things happen? So change is just, it's part of what we should be doing every single day, right? We should be open to changes, because that's taking steps forward. That's what we're supposed to do every single day, so that we can experience new things, right? And be open to all the goodness that's around us. So yeah, definitely change is hard. And from my own experiences in the last 5 years of allowing myself to say, I want that, and do I deserve that? And that worthiness that is tied to that, that's all a part of allowing ourselves to step into this better version of ourselves.
Thank you. What's the name of your chapter?
Grounded in goodness.
That's wonderful. Let's go into that change bit and talk about that a little bit. So some of us have a change status. Maybe we weren't an author at one point, a couple of years ago, and now we are. But not only that, we are now international best-selling author. So yay.
Yep.
What kind of change? I want to ask the question of each of you. What is the best that can happen from this point forward for you? Make it up. You don't know what it is. It can be anything. Who wants to chime in first?
I'm going to go ahead and just start that it's a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone to the next book and the next book, and then writing my memoir, which is, I know that I've been calling that in for a really long time. And so using my voice in a different platform, that has allowed me to kind of slow down some of the other things that I had been doing to just really focus on writing, and then also speaking and using my voice in that magnitude to just keep sharing my story to help inspire others.
All right, magic wand. Ding. There you go. All right, who else?
Well,
That's
I would say for me, I love kids, and I love specifically teenagers, because I think teenage life is so difficult. My teenage life was terrible, and I have 3 kids who went through it and it's rough. And I would just love to see teenagers grow from, the work that we're doing and be able to have some sort of process where they can learn how to create their own businesses, and they can become entrepreneurs as teenagers and start learning what it is that we have to teach them as wise women, because we've been through a little bit more than they have.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's beautiful. Does that is that attached to a company, and does that company have a name?
It hasn't been started yet. It's just in the works, and it's in the ethers coming in now. And it would be definitely through my business from Blitzby and Click Right, which is our software company.
Nice. Very cool. I'm excited to see how that develops. Latara, magic one. Best that could happen.
Best thing that can happen. Well, I really liked Kristin's answer that it is a stepping stone to bigger, better things and opening up doors to opportunity that were not there before, things that are unfathomable to all of us at this point in time. But I really just love the ideal that this is a level up for all of us here. I mean, I feel like we're all gaining notoriety at this point. So you are international best-selling authors and experts, and own it and use it to up-level your life. And we can all rise up together. So that's what I love.
That's wonderful. All right, let's see. Just out of the top of my head, I'm going to ask another question because we have time. What is the question that you get asked most by the people looking to work with you? And if you don't have a lot of questions, what do you think the best question somebody could ask you would be? It could be about you or be about themselves. I know that's just right off the top of my head. I don't know why I felt like asking it, but there you go.
I would say for me, a lot of people are coming with, okay, what is this ChatGPT? What is AI? How do we use it? It's scary, or they have all these ideas about it. So I would say the biggest questions for us are like, how do we automate systems? How do we create more automations? It was funny in our Facebook group this morning. I wish there was more of me. I wish I could clone myself so I could be in more places. And that was you, Heather. And it was also Linda. And I just giggled and I was like, what are the things that we as business owners can do to clone ourselves so that we have all those automations running in the background? And that's what we do to help people with those automations. So we can not necessarily be in 2 interviews at one time, but we could have lots of things running at one time so that while we're sleeping, new clients can be coming in. While we're doing other things, while we're in this meeting, we could be looking at our calendar and new clients could be jumping on our calendar right now, so that we're not necessarily needing to always be everywhere all the time. Automations. What are the automations for my business specifically?
That's brilliant, Monika. So if you want to clone yourself, talk to Monika. She can help you clone yourself. Maybe not do 2 live interviews at once, but close. Who else?
All right, so I'll go ahead and go. That's a tricky question, because in the last 3 years, I have just jumped into this space of creating the life that I desire alongside my husband. And so if there's anything, I'm going to go on the opposite end of what Monika said, and I'm going to say spiritually. How have I gotten to this place to have this groundedness that allows me to just be in a space that I'm able to create from a place of love and light and peace and joy? And that's a practice that I've had to learn how to practice every single day, right? So that I can be open to receiving all the abundance and the goodness that is meant for me. Does that make sense?
It does. I have a split personality. I have the part of me that wants to slow down
Mm,
and just enter into that flow stream where I'm not
right.
worried about what's coming at me. And
Mm,
then the other one's like, I'm excited. I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do that. And it's like, oh, I manage self. Hello.
yeah. Yeah.
Got
And
it.
we can be both. We can be both, right? But for for this time in our lives, in my life and my husband and I's lives, to have chosen the path that we've been taken and leaving the house that we had built and creating all the different things that we wanted to be open for the new abundance that was going to come in. So we've just really shifted and changed, but I've had to really come to this place of just knowing that whatever the universe, God, divine spirits want for us, that we have to lean in and trust that. And so that's pretty much where I lead from with the women that I work with. It's just it's coming here and really finding out what it is that I truly want and desire.
Mm, I love it. Thank you. Latara, I got to tell you, I love your energy. And I love the fact that you have this addiction, which, you can call it an addiction, but this addiction to sharing your voice, sharing your message, getting involved. And I also notice when I've interacted with you before, you have this ability to sort of cultivate community as well. So
Hmm.
when I look at you, I think of you as like mentor. Like if I
Interesting.
was following you, I would want to be like, look at how brave Latara is and getting into this book and this book and this book. And she's not dead, so she must be, it didn't kill her. And I've got all these stories too. Maybe I should do the same thing as Latara. And like, do you notice that people watch you and do you do it on purpose? That people see and are inspired by you and the actions you do in the world?
Interesting. I love that feedback. I appreciate that. I guess I'm just trying to be my own best case study. I'm trying to get myself out there and do all the things that I say I can help my clients with.
And that's
So I know what I'm
huge.
talking about.
No, but it's huge. It sounds like you have a lot of trust. You trust yourself. And
Mhm.
that's huge. So many people don't. I know there are certain contexts that I'm in where I don't trust. I just have to jump. Kind of like that Indiana Jones scene where you can't see the bridge and he has to take the
Yeah.
sand and he throws the sand and then you see the pathway. And I still have to throw the sand. I have a hard time just stepping and trusting. And I get this sensation from you that you really trust that everything's going to work for you, not against you.
Mm,
It's like the
mm,
universe is happening for you, not,
mm.
at you or whatever.
I love that assessment. I'm going to take that on.
Okay.
I don't know
You're
if I was
welcome.
consciously thinking that, but I'm going to from now on because I love that. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Did you have more of an answer to the question that I asked around, what would somebody ask you?
So what I immediately thought when you asked that question is people are always coming to me saying, how do I ... like, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I put my Facebook together? How do I create my landing page? How do I connect my email? Like all these things, like like a lot of the tech stuff is just how how do I do this one little thing that bridges the gap between this whole thing over here and this whole thing over here?
Yeah,
So
and there's nothing, even family can't make me cry as much as technology can.
oh,
When I'm like, I know this is supposed to work. It's not working
right.
for me. YouTube's not helping. Google's not helping. Latara! So the fact you step in and help people feel competent in
Mhm.
being able to move forward, I'm going to say thank you for them and me from the bottom of my heart.
Aw, that's sweet of you. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, let's see. Oh, we still got a little bit of time left. Um, what's next? Do any of you have another book on the horizon? Or actually, I shouldn't. Let's stick with our book. All right. Now your copies are coming to you in the mail. What are you gonna do with your book, your copy book? Oh, you got yours already. Okay, color me jealous.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, mine came already. My first box came and I was like, oh my gosh, I have another box coming. But so what am I gonna do with it? That's been my thought too. I ordered a lot of them and I think I'd like to give them away as gifts to some of my clients, just to be able to have something in their hands. I think it's really powerful. We can give a PDF of something, but if somebody puts it on their computer, they never see it again, or they forget that it was there. But if somebody gets a book and it comes in the mail, it sits on a shelf, it sits on a table, it sits somewhere. So it constantly is reminding them of, hey, Monika, or who, you know, all of us, it reminds them of us. So just to get a couple of them, sign them, write a small little note in them and throw them in the mail to special people. For sure, that's where I'm going to start. But it's also, you can't see it, but I did put it on the shelf behind me too, just because now I have it and I can put it on the shelf behind me. So yeah, I'm still in the process of looking at, okay, who gets one? How does that work? Putting them in the mail and getting that all set up and then writing personal notes to them all.
It's amazing too. I got to add to that, that when you forget who you gave it to and you happen to be over at their house for a session or dinner or something like that, and you turn your head just slightly and all of a sudden there's your book on their shelf staring at you. And that's happened to me on several occasions. I never gave books away, but people would buy them and I'd be over and all of a sudden there's my book. And I'm like, you have my book? They're like, yes. Okay. Kristin, Latara, what about you guys? What are you going to do?
I'm probably going to be saving one of them, if not two of them, and you know, offering signed copies as a prize for some of my upcoming events.
Rad, love it. Kristin.
Yeah, I'm excited for my box to come as well. I think definitely put a couple up on my shelves as well that I get a look at when I'm working. And I love the idea of sending them out to some special people, some special women that I know will gain so much knowledge and information from all the inspirational women in there, and then just writing that little personal note. So I'm gonna do that too. So thank you, Monika, for that.
Okay. Last question, very important question. How do you feel like, do you feel like other people would get so much value from being in a contribution like we did when we collaborated on this book together? What are the things that you feel people should keep in mind, and would you recommend that they jump into a collaborative book like we did?
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Just being able to connect with other like-minded women has just been a joy, and having these interviews, even with Christiana, meeting her in Hawaii, it was like wow, across the country, and Sylvia and just you ladies, and having this opportunity to just be in a place where we get to start using our voices, and this platform has just been just very inspiring, and looking forward to what's yet to come.
Yay. Woo.
So I would highly, highly, highly recommend being in a collaborative book like this, because for one thing, you don't have to publish your own book and you still get to say that you are a best-selling author. So how awesome is that? It seems like it's definitely a life hack that you get to also get the support of a community when you're promoting it, so that raises your ability to become a best-selling author. You also create this camaraderie, this sense of community like Kristin was talking about. And we all have this common theme, and that's why we're in the book together. So it's almost like filtering all the people out. Well, not filtering all the people out, but like sifting them and putting the like-minded people together. It's also just because it's one chapter, it's less of a commitment. You get to write one chapter and you're done. You don't have to go through all the steps to try to publish your own book. And I think that's a stumbling block for a lot of people. And you get to share your message out there with as many people as you can.
Wonderful. All right. Any final words for us on that, Monika?
Really similar to what the ladies said, it is an incredible collaboration. And I will put in an extra just word. Linda and Sally have done an extraordinary job in setting the whole thing up, making it super easy. Like the process is way easier than I thought. And for me, I'm in the process of looking at, like, I want to find my edges. So my first edge was write a book and become a bestseller. Now I've hit that edge. Now the next edge is write my own book and become a bestseller. So it's just, for me, it's like, okay, this was the stepping stone. This was the beginning. I did this. I got it. It was scary and I just jumped. Unlike you, I don't tend to throw the sand. I tend to just jump off the cliff and see where I land. And typically I land on my feet, so I'll figure it out. But I really, really am looking forward to the next book too. And the collaboration has been really fun, meeting other women and being in interviews with people and just knowing that there are other people doing the exact same thing and in the same book together. We're stronger together. I've always thought that, where two or more are gathered, there's just more power there. So yeah, it's been super fun. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, ladies, so much for coming on and speaking with me today. It's very exciting having you. I'm so grateful that we are community and going through this together. And I can see great collaborations in the future if they happen to align. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, Heather.
Bye. Thank you.
And now I am going to welcome in Stephanie Lee. Hi, Stephanie. And let's see, I think we got one more piece that's disappearing, I think. How do I make her disappear over here? Da, 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 da. I don't want to stop that video. Put in waiting room. There we go. Ta-da! There we go. Just us. All right. And nope, I'm good with that. All right, yay! So it's actually just you and I for the next half hour, Stephanie. Are you freaked out or what?
A little bit.
Oh, you kidding? I'm a pussy cat. We just had fun talking about our experience, but also some points of view that really come from our audiences. Now, do you have an audience, or are they clients, or like the people that follow you or take note of you? How do you refer to them?
Clients. Yeah.
Clients?
Clients at this
Okay.
point. I'm really super excited about the possibility of doing a podcast or something. I know my voice is a very special characteristic that I have been given. And so I want to use it in some way that can really benefit people, but that's a whole sideline there.
No, you know what? This book, I think, really calls people to step up and share their voice, and also to learn how much value comes from that sharing, whether it's spoken or typing or whatever, however they're showing up. For a lot of people, that's the biggest, edgiest thing they could possibly do in their life. And so let's kind of rewind just a sec. I would love to introduce you and have you share the name of your chapter and what got you interested in collaborating in this particular book.
Absolutely. So the name of my chapter is The Story of Joan. And I don't really remember where that inspiration came from, but isn't there something like a book or something called The Story of O? I don't know, but anyway, it just it rang to me, and and I just went with it. And so the chapter starts with basically a story about Joan. And Joan is a woman who has in her life, she is on a diet or she's not on a diet. There's no in between. And so this particular story is about the day that she's not on her diet. and then how she goes about her day and what happens at the end of the day when she's really feeling crappy and stuff because she ingested all this really crappy food and drink. And what I was trying to get to in that story is for people to realize that I recognize that we have real lives, that as a healthy weight loss behavior coach, I don't approach my clients with the idea that I have all the answers and you just need to do it this way and then everything will be fine. Well, for most people, they've tried doing it this way and it hasn't worked for them because it doesn't fit into their lifestyle. And so what we need to really work on is what is your life like on a daily basis? I mean, if you decide that tomorrow I'm going to start a diet, great. That's really awesome. You're going to start eating better. Maybe you're following a specific weight loss plan, but your life doesn't stop happening just because you decide tomorrow I'm going to start a diet. So if your life is stressful today, it's still going to be stressful tomorrow. And now you've added more stress because you're trying to figure out how to incorporate this eating plan into your everyday stressors, kids, parents, husband, wife, whatever it is, that's impacting you. And so what we want to do instead is look at what is happening in your life right now and what kinds of things can we incorporate that might help you be able to live a healthy lifestyle that doesn't take you away from what your life is right now. And maybe over time, as we start to incorporate those healthier options little by little, because we don't want to go from 0 to 60 in a day. So little by little, we get to that point where you're actually starting to feel good. And then you can start to make better choices and better choices and better choices because you're motivated at that point. You're starting to feel really good and you can see the benefit of what you're doing. That was a very long answer to your question.
No, that's okay. I mean, a lot of us struggle with figuring out how to eat healthier and things like that. But you're right. It's like just because you've made this decision to either start a new exercise program or start eating healthier, it doesn't mean that you're quitting everything else you are doing to start focusing on that. It's piling it on top of, and I never thought of it that way before. I mean, yeah, I'm imagining that the shadow in the back is, whispering, that it's not my fault, or, I'm overwhelmed. And so you decided to put your knowledge and your wisdom in a chapter in this book to maybe help people see how to get started in that direction of how to maybe look at lifestyle first and work on less stress in that way. Can you share a little bit more about the tips that you share in your chapter?
Absolutely. So there are many aspects to our lives. We have relationships, we have job stressors, we have personal stressors, just, deadlines, things that have to get done. We have nutrition that we need to worry about, like what are we going to have for dinner? What are we going to have for breakfast? All those things. Those are just kind of the highlights that are coming to mind right at the moment. But each of those has an impact on how we approach our weight loss efforts or our healthy lifestyle efforts. And so in this chapter, I wanted to address what I think is the number one aspect of our lives that impacts our relationship with our weight loss efforts, and that is our mindset. And so in the story of Joan, her mindset is I'm on a diet, I'm not on a diet. And there's no life in between. And so some of the tips that I talk about are things you hear all the time. It's not brain, it's not, it's not
Not rocket
know,
surgery.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's not meditation. It's not, but it is meditation, having gratitude, whether you write it down or not, but just taking that moment to recognize those things in your life that you have gratitude for. All of those things in and of themselves, by themselves, can impact our mindset. But when you put all that together, eventually, again, we don't want to go from 0 to 60 in a day. So maybe starting with being grateful, maybe that's your place to start. But maybe that's not where you're not there. Like, I don't have anything to be grateful for right now. Maybe that's where you are. So then maybe we look at uh, looking at maybe just some other aspects of your life where we can see some positives. Taking 1 minute, not even 5 minutes, not even 10 minutes, but literally 60 seconds to do a meditation, whether it be in the morning or the evening, whatever works for you. But those kinds of things can really start to, it's that consistency, right? So once we start those little tiny things and we start just every day, we're at it. So 1 minute every day for 7 days, that's 7 minutes of meditation that you've done in a week versus 0. But as I say that, meditation's not for everybody. Being grateful isn't for everybody. So we really have to identify what that is for you.
Now, most people don't just wake up one morning and have like all this wisdom and advice for people. They usually had to go through an experience and go through the challenges of learning things the hard way before they latch on or create the resources they need to be able to move forward with that sense of groundedness, that sense of peacefulness. Can you share a little bit about your own personal experience that brought you to this wisdom that you have today?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. So as a child, I was the youngest of 3 daughters, and there was 8 years between myself and my youngest sister. So basically, I was an only child. And so by the time I got to be like late, like 10 years old or so, pretty much my sisters were out of the house. So it was just me. And I was really lonely, especially as a teenager. And we moved to a community where I didn't know anyone. I'm 12 years old, like the worst time, right? As a teenager, when we're just starting to try to identify who we are, and my family moved to a community where I didn't know anyone. I ended up in a junior high school where I was one of 2 African Americans in the entire school. And it was a nightmare. It was truly a nightmare. So food was my friend. And food, not good food. We don't go for broccoli, right? When we're feeling not so good. So I would stop at the store and get Twinkies and the Hostess cupcakes and all kinds of candies and just sugar, 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 sugar. I mean, how much sugar could you put into a body? Was pretty much where I was coming from. I didn't know that at the time. I have a much better perspective on that now, but at the time I would just wanted to feel good. I just wanted to feel good about myself and where I was. Well, you start eating like that and you start putting on the pounds, right? And I had already kind of learned that sugar was my best friend, even as a young child. But as a young child, I really didn't care what I looked like. I didn't care if my body was fat or whatever. It's like, whatever, it's your problem. Because I was just enjoying eating all that what I considered good food. And but then when I became a teenager and boys came into the picture, then things really changed, right? And then I wanted to look like the other girls in junior high and be able to wear the cute styles and stuff. And I couldn't. I had to shop in the women's department because they didn't have back then they didn't have the stores that they have now for larger size women. And so the clothing that I had to choose was really frumpy and just not for a teenager. So you add that to somebody who's already experiencing major self-esteem issues, and it just went downhill from there. So eventually, as I got older, I tried all kinds of different diets, and usually it was the ones that promised quick results. So the cabbage soup diet, the Atkins, just name it. Grapefruit diet. I tried them all, and they all worked until they didn't, because life happens, right? And then I would be right back to where I was before, experiencing the same food issues that I had before. And then over time, I started to recognize that the sugar was really creating major depression for me. So while it felt good in the moment, I was having some real problems with just navigating life, just life in general. And so, kind of fast forward, if you will, into a more modern time, when I started to realize that I really needed to change my diet and let go of the sugar. But again, it wasn't successful when I tried to go from sugar to no sugar in a day. So I had to learn how to gradually make that change by not so much eliminating food, but by bringing in other food. So adding more vegetables to my diet without telling myself, well, you can't have this, you can't have that. Because eventually I didn't want this or that didn't make me feel good, because I could really start to see the difference in how I felt from one eating experience to another. So if I ate sugar and ate a large quantity of sugar, I felt like crap. Either later that day, I would go into a sugar coma that day, and then maybe the next day, just feel like I was angry and hostile and irritable, or crying and depressed, and just really extreme emotions. So yeah, so then eventually I found this certification program that I entered into that totally spoke to me. It brought in all of my history with food and all the things that I know about what compulsive eating is all about, compulsive overeating is all about, and how to be able to talk about it in a way that people can see that I can relate. And I'm not perfect. I haven't totally figured it out, but I'm way better today than I was back in those days when I was really struggling with
Yeah.
the sugar.
I guess it's not a good metaphor then just to use the eat an elephant one bite at a time when you're overwhelmed.
Good one, Heather.
That's my favorite metaphor, but I'm like, in this case, maybe not such a good idea. But so congratulations on your international best-selling author. Yay.
Thank
And I have
you.
this is a pen, but it's actually a magic wand today. So I'm going to endow you with having the most amazing day tomorrow. Whether it happens or not, it's up to you. But what is the best that could happen at this point for you?
The best that could happen, I'm a massage therapist as well as a fitness instructor. And one of the things that I think I get the most joy out of after I have given someone a massage is seeing their face go from, like, you don't notice it so much initially that there's stress on their face, but when you see that stress go away and they just kind of light up after their massage, even though they might be a little groggy, but they kind of light, their face is shinier. It has, I don't know, it just glows a little bit more. Well, that is like the ultimate to me. Like, no matter what the client says after their massage, just seeing that on their face tells me that they have been able to benefit from my touch. Well, what I would like to experience here is to be able to work with clients who are able to take what I'm able to share with them, and together we're able to strategize a life that allows them to really open up and shine because they're feeling good, both internally and externally.
I love that. That is great. So I hope lots and lots and lots of people read the book and read your chapter and reach out to you. And let's see, are you going to jump into another book soon? Or is this sort of like, okay, I did it, bucket list done, check? Or do you have more books ready to be written?
You know, I've been a part of other collaborations, but I've never written on this particular topic. But I am working on my own book,
Ooh,
and
tell me about that, yes.
yeah. So this chapter in Get Shit Done is it's part of a chapter that I will have in my own book. And so the first half of my own book is about my experience with, which I shared some with you today, about my experience with sugar and compulsive overeating. And then the second half of the book is talking about how we, in real life, not in an imaginary life, but in real life, how we deal with whatever we might be struggling with around food. And the title of the book is going to be Confessions of an FAT, so the capital letters, and it's Frustrated and Tenacious Fitness Instructor. And what generated the idea for this book is, as a fitness instructor, I find that often people think I don't have a problem with food, and I never have. And in fact, the opposite is true. And so I felt like I really needed to write that story and let people know that.
That's wonderful. That is really cool. So can we expect your personal book to be out by next year in 2024?
Yes, absolutely. It is. It's yeah. I have it written down. It will be done this year. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Yay. I'm so
Thank you.
glad. So happy for you. All right.
Judy.
Question, because we have some time. What question do you love being asked because it just lights you up? It's like the question that just lights you up because you could talk about it forever and ever and ever ad nauseum.
That's a really good question. What would that be? So, as a fitness instructor, I often get asked, like, how can I get rid of my belly? And because people
Okay, I'm
want to
asking.
like try to.
We're gonna play act here, okay? We're gonna play act, and I'm gonna say, Stephanie, mom of 2 kids, I'm past menopause, and look at this, okay? Look at this, right there. What do
Yeah,
I do?
yeah. So first of all, sad to say, I'm sorry to burst your bubble if I'm bursting your bubble, but you cannot exercise it away.
Oh man.
I know. I know. It's crushing, isn't it? It's like, if I just do some sit-ups, then it will be fine. Sorry, no. But what the sit-ups do, and what other abdominal work does, is it strengthens those deeper core muscles that are underneath that belly fat. But it's not going to make it go away. that is related to diet. And so, it's not as easy as I just need to exercise more. I wish that were the answer, because that would be way cool and way easier.
Actually, I like the answer with food better than the exercise because I didn't want to exercise anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. I love that. Okay. So, yeah. So, it depends on your own eating habits, but generally speaking, this is very generally speaking, not anything specific, but sugar is going to create that. And sugar comes in a lot of different forms. There's adult sugar in the form of wine and alcohol. There's just saying. And then, of course, there's the obvious sugar that comes in the form of desserts and Starbucks caramel macchiatos and things like that. That's going to have the greatest impact because that's impacting your gut and your gut health. So those little critters in there, if you will, and it kind of sounds gross, but they really are kind of little critters in there, are just chomping away at that sugar, and then they're growing and growing and growing. And that's what's creating some of that. The other thing that happens as we get older, especially for women, is our hormones start to change. And that can impact our midsection in particular. And then if we're not getting enough sleep, which a lot of times we're not, especially if we've gone into menopause, our sleep gets impacted. So all of those things can affect how our belly looks.
Yeah.
I know. So let's see if I can leave this on a more positive note.
All right, yeah, you got 5 minutes to bring us home. Give us some pro tips.
Yeah, so all of that can be greatly impacted. So first of all, exercise really does help, even though it doesn't eliminate the problem. It does help to strengthen those deeper core muscles, which helps to create greater stability and support for our back. And when we have that, then as we get into our later years, we're not faced with so much back pain that we literally can't move, or we can, move very minimally. So we want to avoid that. So just a little bit of work while we can still go into movement can still help with those underlying, creating that strength in those underlying muscles. And then on the food side, again, just kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, you don't want to go from 0 to 60 in a day. So just starting to look at, first of all, looking at what you're eating and drinking. And is there something in there that maybe you could take away or change? So let's say you're a Ben and Jerry's person. And I'm not saying this is you, Heather, but just
You caught me. You looked in my freezer.
Oh my gosh. So just saying.
Cherry Garcia.
I was just going to say Cherry Garcia. So that's your favorite. And if you're a pint a day person, then what we don't want to take away that pint, right? Not yet. So what we want to do is maybe reduce that. Instead of 7 days a week, maybe do it down to 5 days a week that first week. And then the other 2 days we find an alternate. There are some really incredible ice cream, if you will, substitutes that have far less calories and still allow us to have the benefit of what could, a lot of times ice cream in particular, it's a texture thing. So we like the smoothness of it, and it kind of soothes us, right? So, and different people have different reasons for why they choose types of foods that they choose. And that's one of the things that I go over with my clients as a healthy weight loss behavior coach. but just using ice cream as an example, it usually is a textural thing. So then we don't want to eliminate that texture because then you're just going to crave it more. But we just want to kind of alter how we get that same texture. And then eventually we start to increase those alternatives. So maybe then the next week we're having the Jerry Garcia 4 times a week instead of 7 times a week, and so forth and so on. So just as an example.
That is a good example. Good example. All right. Any final words you would like to impart upon us before we close out this interview?
I think one of the most important things that we can do in our healthy lifestyle endeavors is to really understand ourselves. So sometimes we might need a coach to help like pinpoint what those different aspects are, but just understanding that, you have stressors in your life. You have relationship stressors. You have relationships that are maybe super positive. Maybe you have relationships that are super negative. Whatever they are, those aren't going to change tomorrow. And so how do we work within that to be able to make some healthy lifestyle changes that actually will ultimately lead to our own self-empowerment?
Beautiful, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being with me today and this beautiful book launch day. And congratulations again on becoming an international best-selling author. And I look forward to maybe even collaborating with you again on a future book.
I love that, Heather. Thank you so much. It was really nice spending this time with you.
Very good. We'll see you tonight at the party.
Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So this was my first time doing a live stream. We've already done 4 interviews over this last hour. I have another human being, amazing human being, who's an author who's going to be joining us any minute, I hope. Otherwise, you're just going to get me for like a half an hour because I am refusing to chop up these 4 panels of interviews into 4 different sections. I'll edit it later and put it up on YouTube. But for now, I'm like, maybe I'll just take this opportunity to peek online and see if anybody said anything. And if you had, maybe I will reply. So let's see. Where am I? We got that. All right. Good thing I have that turned down, otherwise it'll be squawking at me. All right. Hi. I'm going to take a moment to say hello, Ruben Thomas. Thank you very much for listening in. You are such a great fan, great follower. I always feel very motivated and supported by you every time you love, do anything you want with what I share out there. And you're very kind to respond all the time. And I want to say thank you to you. Latara, thank you so much for speaking with me earlier. That was really fun having you on. Let's see, Sylvia, was great having you on as well. And I look forward to talking more with you later. I'm gonna get the hang of this. I am. So let's see, what else can I do? I just said hello, yay. Learning how to, I guess I have to wait till it's over and then I can go click like and love and all that stuff. So I'm surviving. I am surviving this very first time I have ever done a live stream. This is me showing up in process. I am not pre-recording and then editing and putting it out there. This is full on visual, full on live. Who knows what's gonna happen? Hope it's good. Gonna trust myself, gonna trust the process. I'm gonna trust the amazing people that I have coming on to speak to me. All right, so next up, we should have another wonderful human being. I don't know where they are. Where is she? She says, what o'clock? I'm ready for you. And we got Kimberly. Oh, it's a different one. Okay, so I can say, all right, gonna send that. All right, one second. We got this. All right. So I guess some people like to be on their personal profile and their professional one. And so I'm communicating to like both at the same time. And it's interesting. So let's see if I can do this. Oh, she made it. I didn't even have to send her the link. Woohoo! We got Kimberly Robinson in the house right now. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Kimberly. And as soon as you can, turn on your video. She's here. She's here. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, hello. How are you? I need to
Hi.
put my background back on again.
Sure, put your background back on. You must have been busy today.
Yes.
Take it on, put it off.
Yeah, okay, I got it. It's mirrored. So okay, we're good. Okay, I'm gonna move to a different area too, because I got noise where I'm at as well. So just working out a couple little things here. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. This is actually my first time using the live stream function. So I can't say it's the absolute first time because I did some trial runs just to find out if the sound would happen, like how many will it actually show other people who are the panelists, or if it would just be me and a big screen and hear out disembodied voices. Well, I made it work. It took me several goes to make it work, but I did it. And who knows, maybe I'll love it so much I'll be addicted and I'll do this more.
So is this through live stream? It's not through regular Zoom?
So if you have like an upgraded Zoom account, you can choose to live stream it to your personal Facebook page,
Oh,
a
right.
Facebook group, or YouTube channels. And I happen to have a group with a good amount of people in it I use for podcasting. So I thought, well, why don't I live stream into that group?
Oh, okay,
Good.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, all right. So yeah, I have an upgraded one, so I can do that as well. I just need to learn how to do that. That's cool.
Yeah. It wasn't too hard. I'd be happy to chat with you later about how to make that happen.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you so much. All right, I'm in another location.
All right.
I'm settled here.
Dun, dun, dun.
And make sure, I was trying to make sure I had a plug in too, just in case, because I had some computer problems earlier. That's my computer was like, I have to get another cord because this one it looks like it's on sometimes and it's not. So I don't know what's going on with that. So,
Right.
but that's kind of an easy remedy rather than getting another computer, just getting a cord. So, okay, hold on just a second. Let me just plug it in right quick.
I'm patient. I'm very patient. Any chance I have to just sit and breathe today, I am going to take it.
There's the cord.
Just going to say happy Monday to everybody out there getting ready to start their week or right in the speed of things. And I hope that it's going smoothly. But if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're ready to go into procrastination, then this is a chance to just sit down and relax and listen to some tips and tricks on how to get shit done. No more excuses, everybody. We gotta live our lives. We got stuff to do, and we can't let shadows say, hey, you're getting a little too out of my comfort zone here. You better start playing smaller. You know, who do you think you are? Let's let shadow know we got everything under control. We got this, and we're gonna make stuff happen. And so today with us talking up next is Kimberly Robinson. And Kimberly, so glad to have you with us. Can you tell us the name of your chapter and a little bit about what got you, like what prompted you to join this book collaboration that we're doing today?
Well, hello, Heather. Such a great opportunity to be here with you. I just thank you for even inviting me to come out and chat with you for a little bit. So I would say what really prompted me was actually just thinking about it. I was like, do I actually get stuff done? Because I was like, you know what? I don't know if this book is for me. Because am I a person? I mean, it's for me to read, but should I be in it, is what I mean. And then after I thought about it, I was like, oh, wow, I have gotten a lot of stuff done. So it's amazing when we really sit and we think about our lives and just really embrace some things that have happened. It's like, wow, I really did make some things happen in my life. So what the thing is, sometimes we go through obstacles, and sometimes we let those obstacles appear to be so big till it seems like we almost didn't do the thing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And so I thought about some of that stuff, and I was like, wait a minute. I've done some things. So I think that I could help other people, trying to explain or just kind of giving them a little summary of a couple things that I've been through, and they can say, hey, I'm going through this right now. Maybe I can get through it like she did, or maybe another way. If she got through it, I know I can get through it. So that,
No,
so
that's huge. That is really huge. I really appreciate people who mentor in even if they're not meaning to mentor, but the fact that when somebody shows up and they're like, okay, shit's hit the fan and I'm rolling with the punches and I'm getting this done today. And I'm looking at them going, wow, if that happened to me, well, wait, I got my own stuff. That looks really hard. And if they can do it while they're going through this, and this, then I have no excuses. I should be able to handle this too. So, what did you discover is your secret when you feel stuck? And
mhm.
how do you check in with yourself and then use your own tools to move forward?
Right. Right. So, okay, this is what I've thought about this, and really just being able to write a chapter in this book really helped me to focus on that. I was like, what is it that I do use? And so I thought about it, and I came up with this acronym called WAR. And so war, what I call war, sometimes I like to talk about things kind of on a maybe like a fighting home front, stand front, because I'm kind of like, because I was in the military, in the Navy a few years back, and sometimes I love that. I loved when I was in there. I learned so much, and so that's one thing I think about war, because really we don't have a choice. If we're here on this earth, we're in a war, whether we want to be or not. So what we need to do is we can choose to, do something in the war to help us to get from one stage to another. And so what I call war, I call W in the war work, because when you're going through stuff, you know, there's work involved. Sometimes the work is just standing still. If we really go back to the Bible, we talk about some things that even God told some of the people that followed him. He told Moses to stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, right? So he stood still, but that was work doing that, right? So sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean we're doing a bunch of moving. It's really listening to what the work is to do, even though
It's
that's
kind
some
of
of the
like,
way.
stop being so busy. Stop attempting to
Yeah.
make things happen. Be still. Listen. You can
Yes.
imagine.
Oh my goodness. That is so powerful. It's really powerful. So work doesn't necessarily mean work. Work on working on what you're supposed to be working on, right? And so the next part is A for accountability. Do we all love that word? Well, maybe we don't love it. I don't want no accountability, but it so brings us to our next level. So all of us have this thing in us that we can't see. Like we're better than we even believe. We've got more in us than we even see. And so that's accountability helps with that, because when you have somebody or something or something to bring out that, like, okay, you need to do this. You're like, okay, I can do that. And then when you do that, you're like, oh, I did that. Oh, well, if I did that, then I can do this. Wow. Awesome. So like for me, my issue is with water, sometimes it's just hard for me to remember. But like if I have like my kids, sometimes I'm like, look, y'all, remind me about my water, right? Mom, drink your water. I drink more water when my kids are telling me to drink water.
Yeah. I like that you asked for help around that. That was brilliant.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
And so just even things that some people think is little, but for me, that wasn't little because I used to pass out from not getting enough water. That's a whole nother story. So yeah, water is extremely important. And so the third thing in that war is R. R is rest, right? You have
Mm.
work, you have accountability, and you have rest. I know. Sometimes we all need to just take a deep breath and say, "Ooh, I'm just gonna give this all. This is what I do. I'm just gonna give this to God. Rest in God. That's what I do to help me get from one level to the next. Because some days we have days. You know, you have your days, Heather. I know I have my days when I'm like, look here. But sometimes we need to just take a deep breath and say, I'm going to just start all over and I'm going to rest. And so that's such a great stress reliever too. You know, just rest does so much for our body. And, you know, most of us don't get the hours of sleep that we need and all that kind of stuff. And that's a great one too. But if you don't do that, at least sit down, take a deep breath, grab yourself some tea, some water, whatever, and take a deep breath and rest. And you'll be surprised too. A lot of times when you're working and you're doing things, all of a sudden, you know what to do once you get your rest. I know that happens to me like so often I can't even tell you, but it's just like we all need it. So that's one thing I have learned, just that applying that, going to war, work, accountability, and rest.
You are quite the warrior. And do you help take people on a journey and teach them these things? This, especially the resting portion, which I think seems to be, to a lot of people's busy minds, it's counterintuitive. It's like, how can I get stuff done if I'm resting? Yet they get so stuck up in here. I know, because I have been trapped in my head before. But as soon as I do what you said, as soon as I take that time for myself and rest and bring myself back down into my body, and my body is so intelligent, it supports me in doing the things that are happening all up in here. But I have to take that time off to rest. I have to. And it feels so funny. And with our kids, we can do it because they're our kids and they'll listen to us. But it's harder, I think, with audiences that aren't primed already for the concept that rest can actually help you go faster.
Yes, exactly. And so that's what I like to start, like the people that I work with. So I work with different types of people for different things. So I work with people that, you know, want to change their mindset. So I do some holistic, you know, type of things. I talk to them just about their life, what they're doing, what it is that is, and usually I don't have to ask them. They usually tell me what it is that's frustrating them. You know, we just kind of talk. I'm not a therapist or anything like that. I'm a coach. And so my job is to get you to your next level. And that's what I do by I listen, and then we try to come up with a game plan on what we can do. And then I have people that I'm a personal trainer as well. So I have some people that I work out with, you know, as far as exercise, whether they want to tone their bodies, lose weight, gain weight, whatever, and just help them get to their next level. But what I've found out is we always got to start with our minds. Because if you don't think you can get there, what's the point of even coming in to do any push-ups or squats? You know what I mean? So I really try to work with them first with that. And then we work on going to the next level. Also set up food programs and all that good stuff. So I just try to emphasize, this is something you need to do for your life. You're not just going to get here with me and you do this for 5 minutes and then the rest of your life is good to go. I want to help you learn to do some things that you can take with you the rest of your life. We're not going to be eating rice cakes. I don't even put that on my menu. We're eating good food that you like, but we're going to prepare it in a different way to where it's nourishing and that you really get a lot out of it too. You know, we're going to work on building up that body for strength, for longevity.
Yeah,
That's what I like to do.
I love it. Is this the first book that you've ever contributed to?
Well, actually, I also contributed to Women with Healing Gifts. That was another
Oh,
one.
cool. So
Yeah.
are you now addicted to being a contributing author, you think?
Yes, I am. I'm on the boat. I'm on the boat, Heather. I'm not getting off. I'm on the boat. Woo! I'm trying to get some
So
people with me too.
Well,
This is
good.
so
So when
good.
are you going to plan to spearhead your very own book?
See, that's in my mind. I don't think I can do it this year, but maybe within the next year. I'm thinking about that though. Yes.
Good,
So yeah, I'm
good.
just gonna, yeah, so that is a thought. So I'm glad you did mention that because I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, not sure when, but that sounds like a great idea. So
All right, I have
yeah.
a magic wand time. So tomorrow, the next day, next week, you've envisioned when it's going to happen. But from you being in this book and the other book, and writing your chapter, having it go to bestseller, what is the best that can happen?
Boop, bam. The best that I can happen. I'll say the best that could happen would be that people, and I think that some of this is going to be behind the scenes that I don't know about, that people's lives are going to be changed. Like as far as some people are going to say, you know what? I can lose this weight. You know what? I'm not going to keep thinking that I can't write a book or I can't get my degree or I can't, raise these kids. You know what I mean? I'm going to step up because you know what? Kim did it. She did it. And if Kim can do it, I got this. So yeah, I just feel like I want people to have it, even some people that I don't get a chance to talk to, that when I, go on to the next place, which I believe I get to go to heaven, that I get to hear about some great stories of some wonderful people that have been blessed by my book. So yes, that's what I look forward to.
Yeah, wow. That's fantastic. I hope that happens too for you because your message is so priming. It's just so I want to feel the way you want people to feel. It's like it's contagious. It's like, yeah, she gets it. She gets me. That's what I want, you know?
Yeah.
And it's very relatable. Can you go backwards in time just a little bit to a time when you were challenged with a lot of the things that your current clientele may be challenged with today? And tell me about a pivotal point when you decided you needed something to change.
I would say one really part of my life that was really rough was, okay, it was after I had my children. Okay, so I am a mother of, well, I have eight
Wow.
children. Two are bonus boys from when I married my husband, and
Mhm.
the other six were from me. They came out of my body.
Wow.
I don't know. That's a whole nother thing that I don't. That's just ooh. Okay, that's God, because I had
I'm
no
gonna say
idea.
thank you for your service, both for the United States, but also as being a freaking amazing mom.
Woo, I tell you,
Woo!
didn't plan that one, but things happen. But anyway, so yeah, so after I had my last son, I'll say a few years afterwards, I just started feeling just a little pain in my body, and I'd sit down and just have a lot of pain getting up. And so what I noticed is just I would just start having a lot of pain anytime I would sit down. Never found out what it was. I mean, I would just sit down even just to go to the bathroom and get up, and that would be painful. And so what happened was I went to a physical therapist, and then my husband had said, oh, take this medicine, take that. I tried that. And the physical therapist was like, you need to get off all that medicine. Let's do some physical therapy. And then I said, you know what? Why am I not asking God to help me with this? So I asked God to help me. And I felt like, he wanted that I needed to do the physical therapy, but I believe God healed me too, because I did the physical therapy and I just kept feeling better each time. And what I found out, Heather, is I needed to keep moving. So after I had my last child, I just kind of stopped. I got myself so busy with them, you know what I mean? Not doing anything for myself, but doing stuff for them. And so I wasn't eating right. I wasn't exercising. I was just getting them to their ball games, feeding them, maybe McDonald's or whatever. And it was not good for them and not good for me. And so I finally changed. I was like, you know what? I'm eating good. I'm taking care of myself. I'm going to exercise, and life changed for me. And so that's
Sounds
what
like energetically it feels like you transitioned from caretaker to my turn.
exactly. And so this is what I'm hoping I'm sure there'll be some other ladies, men that read my book and they may be like, yeah, you know what? I got a lot of stuff I'm doing for everybody else. It's time for me to take care of myself. So that's one thing that I really learned. I feel like that's a lesson for life there, that I'm going to hold on to that and continue to do that, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. So many times, I mean, the Bible says, do unto others as you would do, you know, we are used to doing for others, and it's almost like we need to remember that the reverse is true too.
Yeah, we're
You
the
know,
other.
we should take care of, love ourselves as much as we're loving other people.
Yes.
Because so oftentimes we will sacrifice just energy, all of that stuff for the people we love, and sometimes for people we don't even love.
Oh, I know. Woo.
And then our needs will take a back seat.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that we deserve our own love too.
So
Yeah.
true.
Super true. Very cool. So, do you have a working title for your book when it's more around
Oh,
you?
good. Oh, Heather, I have no
You
idea.
are the
So,
leader.
girl, I'm gonna have to think about that one. You got me on that one. Oh, it's
Oh,
gonna be good though.
you're going to have people asking you about that. So, I always say it's okay if you make a title and change your mind later. That's why we call it a working title.
Yeah.
It might change later, but congratulations on even letting the idea be in your head, because there are so many people who not only don't write their own stories, and their stories will go untold, but they won't even, they don't feel like what they have is real enough or good enough or whatever to even step into a position of being a contributing author like you and I did in a book project like this. And so, you're way ahead of the game in that regard. But what would you share to our audience of people that have all of this hard-won wisdom inside of them and not yet have a vehicle to share it with the world, or maybe they're not even brave enough or feel like they're worthy enough to step into that role? Can you give us some motivation and tell us what that would mean for ourselves as far as self-care and the good things that come to you when you do feel brave enough to lean in and show up?
Yeah, so I'll use my own story. I will say I just feel like I personally am braver than I used to be even a few months ago. With writing the book, there's something I feel that releases in you when you write. And then I also want to say this, okay? When I found out about, these collaboration books, I was like, okay, but I don't write. Like, I've never written, and I just never really thought about it, right? Just never really thought. And then I talked to Linda and she gave me some tips on how to write. I followed what she said and it worked. Okay, so what I'm saying is we can listen to people and we may think we don't have it in us. We have more in us, once again, than we think. I say try it, because you're looking at a person that is not saying she was a writer at all. And now I'm a writer. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Yay!
So I'm just saying, just try. Take the step forward and try. Is it going to hurt you to try? Is it going to hurt you to try? Try. See what happens. That's what I say. That's what I challenge everyone who has a teeny even thought, even if you're not thinking about it, go ahead and try.
Even if you're not thinking about it, go ahead. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. All right, we have a couple minutes left. If you have any final words for your audience, my audience.
I would just say, really is what I've been talking about all along, is just we can do all things, and anybody that, this is even for people that don't, okay, I'm just going to talk from my standpoint. I believe in God. Through him, all things are possible. And what I tell myself is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We're made in the likeness and image of God. And we can do all things. I want to challenge anybody, even if you don't believe what I say, try it. Try it. See if you can do it. Don't believe if somebody tells you you can't do something. Who the heck are they? Who are they? Take another stand and believe that you can do it. Because I'm telling you, if you believe you can do it, you can do it. It's all about us. It's all about us. And that's where it's at. And because we are our biggest enemy. Don't even think that person down the street, your next door neighbor, whoever, your spouse, none of those people are your enemy. You are your worst enemy. So work on that and get yourself right. And trust me, you'll go all the way. All the way. You'll
All the
have
way.
it all.
Thank you so much, Kimberly Robinson,
Oh,
for
you're
being
welcome.
with us
Such a
today.
pleasure.
Yay. All right. Well, we'll see you at the party later.
Yes. All right. Take care, Heather. Have a good one. Bye-bye,
You too.
everybody.
Bye. Cool. Look at that. Hello, Dina.
Hello. Let me switch backgrounds here. Oh,
Although I gotta say, your office has a very nice, clean corner about it.
oh, I love my new chair, my little Zen area.
Here, I'll show just so I can be transparent. You guys want to see my background? My background is not great. Well, it's not messy. I just have a little sheet. Ta-da!
Yeah.
And if I
all
use the
good.
background though, the black through my hair starts to show. Here, we'll put the other one back on. Da-da-da. So like
Yeah.
it's you see the darkness, then over here it's light, so it goes with the yellow. So there you go. If you're a technical person and you like to know how to make things work a little more smoothly, see if you can get your background, if you're going to use a pretend background, see if you can get something at least around the same brightness so
Right.
that when you see the pieces through your hair, it doesn't look totally like dark.
Yeah, I do have a green screen and I keep forgetting to put it up sometimes. So
You know what? I have a green screen too, but honestly, I can't stand the look of green. It's like, I feel like I just got attacked by acid, that color, It's like, ah. Well, we got two more people, and we got now Sylvia's in here with us, and one more person who's my last person. I know I wrote it down somewhere. Hi, Sylvia. You can go ahead and unmute unless you got like a loud air conditioning or something.
Hey, hi. Nice
look at
meeting you both.
hello.
Oh, I like your changed it up with your background just a little
That's
bit.
cute.
That's very
Thank you.
cute.
Appreciate it. I'm pretty
Very
slow sometimes with the text, so I couldn't find the one that you have right now. So I made up mine.
You know what? It works for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Linda loved it, so it was a win-win.
Win-win's good. All right, we got one more person we're gonna wait for, so I don't have to stop and then go again. Hopefully they're here. Let me see if they sent me a letter. Life happens too, so it's possible they'll just
Absolutely.
jump in the middle. And like today we were talking about in a meeting earlier, Dina, you were there. It's
Yeah.
like I need to clone myself so I could do 10 interviews on the same day, and we'll just hiring somebody, I guess, maybe to do posts and things, but one of these days I'll have a better system in place.
Hey,
Oh, we
it
all.
takes time. It takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go in and get started. And what I'm going to do, we'll play a little bit of a round robin, and it's popcorn style. So we're not going turn by turn by turn.
Okay.
If the question speaks to you, jump in fast.
Cool.
New York style.
Love it.
All right, so we're going into our current context. And the current context in the Shadow Dance Edge is all about our growth edge. It's always about that edge that we're pushing to expand in our evolution of either our personal life or professional life. And I'm thinking the Get Ship Done book to me, but that's only because I project it into the book, speaks to me on a professional level, because the personal stuff, it's easier to get my shit done. But my professional stuff, especially if it's on my growth edge, like some of my growth personally, and you may feel aligned with this too. Some of my professional growth is easy. I could do it in my sleep. Like I could do podcast interviews all day long, not a problem. It's not scary to me, even though this is my very first live stream technically and has visuals. So I'm very excited that I got the technology to work together for that. But let's say it would be difficult for me to call up a really awesome art gallery museum in New York and say, hey, I got 50 paintings, all part of a collection. I'm looking at taking it on the road. Do you have a time next year that we could schedule me doing a solo show at your gallery? Now, it sounds really easy for me to say it now to you guys because I like you and I text you, you know me? But to like, and I challenge myself because I love Linda's do something scary every day of your
Every
life
day.
for a whole year. I'm like, ooh, I need to jump on the bandwagon and freaking do that. And just like call a random gallery across I was about to say United States, but what would be really challenging would be to say across the world, right? And then like just call them and see what they say. Just expect them to say no or ask questions or whatever. But you know what? If I do it 100 times, maybe 2 or 3 or 1 even would say yes, and that would be awesome. But so that's about growth edge. So and when I'm thinking professional growth edge, for me, that would be my professional growth edge as an artist. So think about one of your own edges right now that's related to your chapter and the people that you serve. But we're looking at your own personal growth edge inside of that right now. And I'm going
That's
to
a good
read a
question.
list. I'm going to read a list of what I call shadow whispers. And I want you to listen inside of your body for the one that speaks the loudest in the context of your current growth edge, that also is sort of in alignment with something you wrote in your chapter. I know that's a lot to think of, but I bet you it'll be easy for you. Just trust, right? I'm going to say, you ready? I'm afraid. I'm not ready. It's not my fault. I'm overwhelmed. Change is scary. No one gets me. Everything is too hard. Better play it safe. I'm such a fraud. They're going to reject me. The truth will hurt. But they need me. Those are the ones I've got. Any stick out to you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How about the majority of them?
And you know what? There's a lot of
It's true.
overlap.
Yeah, there
But
is.
so the question will be, what is your current growth edge and which of those shadows really pops out at you right now?
In my case, is none of them was like really hit the nail, but the one that hit it closer was I'm overwhelmed, but they need me, you know.
What is
Because,
that?
you know, all the things that we need to do as entrepreneurs is a lot.
Spin the plates. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of overwhelm. A lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is your current growth edge right now? What are you looking to expand into inside of your life, your business?
Me or Dina?
No, I'm talking to you, Sylvia, and then we'll go to Dina about the
Okay.
question.
Oh, I want to grow a team, you know, and I want to grow my clients. So I grow my business, my whole business, so I can have a team that can do everything that I don't. Not that I don't like. I like everything, but it takes so much of my time, and it takes away the fun.
Yeah.
So that's what I would love to do right now. Yeah.
And so the overwhelm kind of speaks to the idea of growing your team. Is that what I hear?
Yes, yes, yes. Growing my team and having all the systems in place, like you were talking about that before. So I don't get, I did the list of everything, all the interviews that I did today and all that, and I did it like 3 times because there's always somebody that I was missing. And yeah, I would love to have like a team. Yeah, that could do all these crazy things, the computer, website, all that. Yeah, that's my goal.
Here's to teams. I want one
That's
too.
right.
All right, Dina. So in your current, what's your current growth edge and which shadow speaks to you?
I'm going to relate it to my chapter.
Yes, please.
Because this really hits home about finding myself again, because that was my chapter, the journey to finding myself again. And the reason I'm bringing it up, and it's all about how I transformed physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually by losing over 110 pounds. The tools, the strategies, and everything that I've done. And that was 13 years ago, because it was back in 2010. And I'm struggling now again, because I went through a breast cancer journey, and now I'm totally postmenopausal. I'm in remission. It's 7 years. I moved once in my lifetime. You could hear when I speak, I'm from Long Island, New York, but I live in Southern Florida now. And it's almost 2 years that I've been living here. And I feel like I'm on vacation. So the stress of moving one place and, leaving the family, it's me, my husband, and my oldest daughter here. My youngest daughter's still up north, and I've gained some weight back, and I can't seem to get rid of it. Running my business, solopreneur, my business is technically virtually, but, it's networking here in a new state. I do have friends here. I do have a few family members here. It's still not the same, so it's like, once again, it's the fear, and that's what I work with my clients, especially the women in remission, about conquering their fear. And here I am going through it.
Yeah. You've ever seen that chart with the whole you are here, success is over here, but it's never a straight line. It looks more like this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but you've hit successful marks across time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's face it. I wrote a chapter in 3 books. This is my 3rd book with Linda and Sally, and I'm so excited about it. One was about my breast cancer journey.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Embracing the impact of cancer. And the second one was Women with Healing Gifts, which I've had since I was a child, and I just hid from them. So it's being out on social media. I'm going to be starting a webinar, and then I'm going to start a masterclass. And then I have just been taking the steps to move forward in my business. Absolutely. I wrote an article in a magazine for cancer, and I'm ambassador for making strides against breast cancer. So I really have to take a step back and say, look at everything you've done this year. And this is the 2nd year you're living in a new place, and it's taking time to get acclimated and whatnot. And I never really thought it would affect me, to be honest with you, because it's like paradise, and, the sun is always shining almost every single day, but it still just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I never thought it would.
Wow.
But I see so much faith in you that because you've done it before, you can do it again. And that's, I think, what makes you such a powerful coach around that. And it's no small thing, like reinventing yourself or even finding yourself for the first time, for goodness sakes. So thank you for doing what you do and serving the people that you serve. We need so many people in this world to help other people. I mean, you think that we're saturated with coaches, but there are way more human beings than there are. We can't handle it.
We're saturated with pain. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Mhm.
Sylvia, tell me the title of your chapter, and I want to know what was your inspiration for writing your chapter?
Oh, thank you for the question. My chapter is called Love Matters.
Mm.
And the inspiration is that every single woman that have worked with me and every single woman that's out there that's still not knowing what true love is and living a life that's really painful and with so much sorrow and feeling like the victim and being victimized as well. I believe that we have told so many lies about love and what it truly is. Like, even though when we hear songs or music or movies or everything we hear about love is about drama and pain, and love is not that. That's really ego, or maybe the way that we are taught to how to handle relationships. So I had many stories of my life, and this is one of them. One of the ones that when I was a really transformation time in my life, when I felt that it was better to be dead than continue being alive, feeling so much pain inside, right? I didn't try to kill myself, but just the thought of it was so scary. And it was the moment when I felt like, what am I doing with my life, And I had 4 kids at that time. Now I have 5, and even my dog, I was thinking about what are they gonna do? And it was pretty a very, very dark moment in my life. And I know that many others are feeling not maybe that extent of pain, but they are feeling that their lives is not worth it, or they are not worth it. And when you have and you feel the love that I discover and I'm feeling today, it's such a miracle to be alive. Every single day is a party. Every single day is a new adventure. Even the challenges are adventure to conquer. Life is so beautiful. So I want to share that message with every single woman in the world. So we stop thinking that love is pain, love is work, love is all these things that we are told, and we kind of believe, when we start new relationships.
How do you differentiate between what is love and what is all that work? Because it does definitely take two to have a relationship, and there is a bit of work involved. I know
Yeah.
I've had a husband for 33 years and a wife for 5. I've got
Yay!
my work cut out for me, and a boyfriend, but he's but there is a lot of work involved to keep things smooth and the communication happening and stuff. But can you differentiate between the part of a relationship that is the love part versus the part of the relationship that is the effort?
Well, I believe, and that's what I live every single day of my life with my husband. We've been together for almost 20 years. We've been married for 18. That is very simple. It's all about communication. It's all about trusting each other. It's all about opening your heart absolutely widely and being ready to give and receive, but in a very natural way. All the rest is coming from the parts that we still need to heal. All the pain you have in your heart, and everybody have, those parts in the heart that are still holding on to the past, to the childhood, to the trauma. So once you start healing, then you can have that communication. I was sharing yesterday that the person that I trust the most in the world is my husband. So this is something that I realized not too far ago, that I was like, yeah, he's the one that I know that I can put my heart in his hands, and he will take amazing care of my heart. And he's my best friend. So the thing is that we talk about everything. Communication is a key, and we don't feel that the other person is going to hurt each other, because if we love each other, we don't hurt each other, knowing that we are hurting each other, and we never hold anything back. That's for me, that real love and communication, 100%. And let me tell you, it's been 20 years of honeymoon every single day. And I'm not exaggerating. It's so beautiful being with him, and him being with me is beautiful. That's why I want to share that idea of love, with the world.
Wow.
Beautiful. I love it. That's great.
Thank
All
you.
right, I have a magic wand. All right. Now you've both become international bestsellers. So
Yay!
I'm going to condense time down, and we're just going to think about tomorrow. What is the best that you think could happen as a result of becoming an international bestseller? Bing!
Oh gosh.
In my case, the best is that the message of love being what it truly is, to reach the whole world would be my dream come true, you know, to be able to travel the world and sharing the message with all the women and some men, the men that are ready, which I'm sure there are many that are ready, and sharing this part of the healing. Yeah, I think that we deserve that. We've been in the shadows for so many centuries. Now it's time for women to be absolutely healed and happy and loved.
True.
Yay, I love
Yes,
it.
yes, absolutely. I honestly feel that, like you said, Sylvia, about the emotional trauma from childhood, the fears that we carried for so long, and being able to just let them go. I mean, I wish I could teach even, and it just came to me just now. I just wish I could teach children, you know, to not let things bother them the way that I did, like some of the teasing and the bullying and, you know, the not feeling worthy, you know, and, you know, then carrying that through adolescence and adulthood and all the jobs I've had too. And, you know, really be true to who you are and not be afraid of who you are and not hide who you are and speak your truth. Because I honestly feel whether you're a man or a woman or a young girl or a young boy, that we should be able to just live our lives free, with joy, inner wellness. Because I really feel that on the inside, we should be healed. Because then on the outside, everything else is fine. You know, and not feel guilty that you want to take care of yourself first. Really. Because what do we normally do? We have that to-do list. We were talking earlier. We have that to-do list, and either we're not on it or we're at the bottom of it. And like you said, talk about love. How about self-love and self-care?
You know, we are told these things when we're younger by our teachers and our family, like bullies bully, you know, it's not about you. We're
thick
told
skin.
all these things, stuff that we get as adults, but when we're kids, we think adults don't understand how hard it is. It's like there's this interesting block, because I remember, oh my gosh, I'm left-handed. I always got dropped into the middle of a school year in a brand new city, sometimes a new country, because I was a Navy brat. And so I was always the odd girl out, because if you're a creative human being, you tend to think very differently, and nobody wants to be friends with that. And it doesn't matter how often I was told, just be yourself, you know, everybody will like you. I saw completely the opposite. I wished I could have a personality-ectomy, if there was such a thing, because I would just open my mouth and I could never take anything I said back. And it always seemed that when I opened my mouth, something weird would come out, and I would only know it was weird because of what the kids would say to me or not say to me, and then run off the other direction. So I think I don't know how to get these types of things across to children, because they're in their little bubble, their own little world that they're creating, because we create. It's like we need a better strategy as women. Of course, we can rule the world. So we need this strategy. We can help, like, start from super, super young, preschool or kindergarten or whatever, some sort of a timeout community circle, learn to communicate and share feelings type of thing. I don't know.
No, it's true.
But whatever they did for me didn't work when I was a kid.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's
true.
what I love working with women, because I do believe that once you teach or inspire a woman, then that woman is going to shift every single generation after her generation. Yeah, because they shift. It's like my parents, my mother did the best she could. My grandmother did the best she could, what she learned at home. So we are at home and we have this victim mentality and we feel that everything is personal and we get upset for everything. And then we fight with everybody and we say, oh, poor me. That's what the kids learn. But if you're an empowered woman that is at home and takes responsibility for your life in a loving way, right? Not like, oh, it's me, it's my fault, you know, like some other places, right? And you say, yeah, it was me, but it was good because now I'm learning from this mistake. Now this is what's happening and life will get better. And we start saying other things to our kids. I believe that even though they will have to go, I always say my kids, no matter what, they will go to the psychologist in the future because we all do something, you know, as parents. But if you are a responsible adult that has your personal growth and you go inside and you live your words, you walk your talk, then the kids will learn something different. And of course, they will be hurt at school. But you can teach them at the moment that it's not personal, and then we'll do whatever it takes, right? And of course, we need to change schools, everything in the world, just one step at a time. But I do believe in, like you say, women's power. We're so powerful because we have this heart and we are so resilient.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Ooh, that reminds me, I'm actually talking to 2 podcasters, aren't I? Which is awesome.
Yes.
And that brings me around to Dina, because I know you're out to help people change the world. And I would like to know, after this book, what is the best that can happen for you? Bing!
What's the best that could happen for me?
For you, to you, whatever, as a result of now being a multiple international best-selling author. Make it up.
It's actually, actually what I would love is really to travel the world with this message.
Yeah.
Seriously. I am actually going to Italy for the first time the end of September. And I already have in my head that if I start to meet people and start just chit-chatting with people, talking to them about the books, what I do, who I serve, why not? Like, normally we're afraid to talk about things like that, but why not? Why not just share messages? Because you just never know who might need your services, or you might know somebody that needs somebody else's services. It's not about my services. It's about connecting with the world.
Yep.
Really is.
For sure. I love it. All right. So we have a couple minutes each, so I'm going to let you each kind of share your parting wisdom with the world, knowing that let's assume that we've sold hundreds and hundreds of copies of Get Shit Done, and people are reading your words of wisdom. Can you tell me one tiny little bit of thing that's not in the book that you wish you had put in the book, and leave us with that? I might share.
I'm waiting for Dina because I always jump on, so
Yeah, no, I'm actually trying to figure that one out. What didn't I put in here that I wanted to put in here that I didn't? That's a very good question.
Yep. That's
It's
a
hard
great
to
one.
fit everything into 500 words. Let's say you double the amount, What would you put in it? Oh my gosh.
I think I would say that it's a process, and to give yourself the grace and the permission to just sit with it and be aware that a lot of these things that you want to change or feel you need to change doesn't happen overnight. Okay, it's really setting the intention every day to do the best that you can at the moment. Day by day, day by day, step by step, I would say.
Wow. That's awesome, Tina.
Aw,
And I
thank you,
think I'm
Sylvia.
gonna, yeah, absolutely. And thank you for what you say, because it takes me to, I will follow your thoughts, because I do believe that we don't celebrate our wins every single day. We're always
Right.
waiting for more, asking for more. And we have to do, the do, and we forget who we are. So instead of doing, we need to be being. And by that, celebrating every single win. I was telling one of my clients the other day, because she said, "Oh, I'm this amount of, I'm this much old, and I'm still working on this." And I say, "Hey, 1% a day, in 3 months, you have 90%. So don't underestimate this 1% that you're shifting every day, just by being present." So my invitation to everybody, because, you know, like you said, the chapter was so short. There's so many things to share, and that's awesome, because we get to write more. And it's like, you know, just if you take one step and then you celebrate yourself, and you also say, "I did it," you know, and have this mercy on you. Be really merciful on yourself, because it's not about taking, you know, the leash and start, you know, hitting yourself, because this is not going to take you anywhere. It's about loving yourself a little bit more, just looking at you, at that woman or man in the mirror, and appreciating that person, because that person has been with you since the very first moment you start living, and it's going to be with you until your last breath. So being present in your body, in your heart, in your soul, and appreciating everything this person in the mirror is being doing for you. Yeah, that's what I
Beautiful.
share.
Oh,
Sylvia Chavez and Dina Legland. Thank you. Did I say your name? No, Legland. Sorry about that.
no, that's easy.
You will.
No worries. No worries.
This has been a great experience. Everything you said, Sylvia, self-compassion, so important, putting yourself more at the top of the list and less at the bottom of the list. Dina, thank you so much for bringing your wisdom into the picture. I very much enjoyed being in this book with both of you and all our great authors, and I look forward to doing future things together, because success
Yes.
doesn't happen in a vacuum. And that's what I would add to my chapter if I had that time and more words to put into it. It's just like, really gather your village, really gather your support. It's not just about people watching you or holding space for you. It's about adding their wisdom to yours, because we're all doing this together. Thank you guys very much for being with me today.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
And that's
Thank
a
you,
wrap.
Dina. It's been a pleasure
Thank
being
you.
with you.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.